Welcome to Primordial Flows, where we tend to our primordial flows. Welcome. So, as I tune into the energies for this message today, I invite you to consent to connect energies so that you can receive this message more fully. If you choose to do so. So, as I was meditating before coming on here, I was feeling feelings of shame, like emotionally. And then I was noticing what sensations are connected to that. There's kind of like a tingling warmth throughout my body. There's kind of like a weight. I'm just noticing where that weight is. Feels mostly in my chest and arms. And I also feel like a sexual pulse. And I'm bringing in, I just was feeling really called to name this feeling and to share this message with you, because shame can be it can really like freeze our connection to our inner power and our inner liberation. I know for me, as I've worked with it over the years, as somebody who's grown up with a lot of Christian sexual shame, working with it, I've felt like it was a form of like numbing to like my sexual erotic self and that power. That erotic power, that life force. And so noticing this energy, it feels like there's deeper layers coming up to be processed. And so let's feel into this feeling of shame. If you feel that in any part of your life, this message reached you for that. Perhaps it's something perhaps this can support you in processing some of that. This doesn't feel easy to talk about. It feels kind of challenging to talk about, especially because I guess with these general messages, like, things are so different for everybody. We all experience things differently. So if I'm naming things that I'm feeling, it's an invitation for you to get curious about what you're feeling, and maybe you can relate to some of it, but it's not to replace your experience at all. So, feeling into that, I feel like it's kind of in the air surrounding me. Like, it feels like this kind of stagnant air surrounding me. Maybe not stagnant, but like kind of full. A little bit pressurized breathing. When I close my eyes, I see an image of a skeleton head. And I'm hearing the words, "In death do us part." Only there's like some chains around this, almost like the feeling that when we die, we no longer carry our shame, but then there's like some chain like connecting maybe the soul to the corpse or something. And maybe that chain is shame. It feels like something that's like eating away at me. Maybe it's eating away at the parts of myself that I feel ashamed about. And those parts keep trying to survive and keep trying to tell me something. So let's say hello to these parts. I invite that anyway. I invite greeting these parts that you may be ashamed of. And asking what their origins I'm getting this religious shame for just a general feeling of being wrong, being a sinner. Being without God, seen without God. As seen is sin, seen is Spanish. So maybe those are Latin origins. It means being without, or it means without. So I deduce that to be a sinner is to be without God. But that we are not without God. If we recognize that, if we recognize God in all, not in like an egotistical way, but more in an energetic way. And there's this matter, this kind of glimmer in my heart that I'm being shown to share with you around when we are when we recognize this larger self, this source, this God, this oneness that permeates everything. It can allow us to witness from many different perspectives. And it can allow us to hold and witness feelings of shame, simultaneous feelings of joy, simultaneous feelings of pleasure or love, simultaneous feelings of sadness and grief, like all phenomena happening. And it allows us to expand our capacity to be able to witness all these things and not get so wrapped up in identifying with it. And that is freedom and liberation. And there's something about, this was part of the heart glimmer, something about when we feel pain, when we feel shame or when we feel pain or when we feel different things. I think it's deep down at the core teaching us our own humanity. But it goes when it gets stuck in like a doctrine or something that starts to make meaning of it, I think then we get kind of stuck and we're not able to perceive the essence to the core. We're not able to fully understand why is it painful. And then we can't truly understand our humanity and our interconnectedness. So the invitation is to be with all feelings and sensations, to get curious about what's causing it. Where did it come from? And you might have memories resurfacing that are asking for your presence and attention, not to fix, just to be present with. To understand and to give yourself the understanding and love and presence that maybe you didn't have when the memory was formed. And you've been holding the memory, your body's been holding the memory and the pain until you do have time and space to tend to it. To bring this sense of love and unconditional love and understanding to yourself and compassion. I kind of see understanding and compassion as the same thing. Not as like a coddling or anything, but as an understanding. Yeah, as I share this, I'm getting this image like this might be some rocky terrain, and if you need more support working through this, I hope that you can access and find a support that feels right for you, to support you in healing and processing in a safe space, in a safe way, in a supportive and nourishing way. Whether that's researching, finding resources for yourself, learning more, or connecting with people or someone who can support you, like a professional or friends or family. I hope that you can find things that are accessible, because we need each other in this. I I appreciate being able to share this with you. And I feel like it's strengthening my own channels within myself to process this more within myself. And this does feel like vulnerable, intimate work. Sacred work. Taking a moment to breathe in compassion and love. And exhale compassion and love. I'll do this for the next little while. As I breathe, I'm noticing tension arising between perpetrator and perpetrated. And Thich Nhat Hanh talks about how we can't have compassion for anybody else unless we have compassion for ourselves first. And so if you're still working on your self-compassion, it's not a time to be worrying about having compassion for other people or to be working on that necessarily. It's a time to understand yourself and be with yourself, because people don't hurt other people unless they're hurt. And so this is a reminder that we don't need to identify with our emotions. We don't need to identify with what we've done. The invitation is to identify with the source. And to allow the source to bring clarity and understanding for you and for others. Just breathing and feeling into if there's anything more in this message that wants to be said. Okay, I'm receiving this image of like a bird flying overhead, and like if you don't know how to have compassion for yourself, or if you find it hard, um there's this image that I'll offer of a bird. So just taking a bird's eye view of you and your life and everything that has happened to you. And even things that have happened to your ancestors. Just the more you can practice this, the more understanding and compassion you can have for yourself. If you can see this perspective as understanding rather than judgment, removing expectations and judgment, and just seeing And there's one more thing. I'm hearing to be without love is to be without a cast iron, sustenance, or I'm thinking of cast irons cooking food and not sustenance, but the cast iron is what cooks the food and the nourishment. So allow this to cook. Allow this to turn into nourishment. Allow your understanding and compassion to turn into nourishment for you and your soul. That is the invitation. And that is our message. If you stayed with me till the end of this, thank you, and let me know. Let me know if any part of this resonated or not, or something in between, or something outside. All right, until next time.